Welcome back to the deep dive. Today we're taking on a story that feels simple on the surface but is just incredibly deep. It's The Last Leaf.
Yeah, and the subtitle we're using, Art, Hope, and Silent Sacrifice, really gets to the heart of it.
Right.
We're digging into O. Henry's work here.
Right. And the big questions for us and for you listening are things like, can a piece of art actually physically save a life? And what does a true sacrifice even look like?
Exactly. This is really a deep dive into that connection between your mental state and your physical health during an illness. The whole story sort of proves this idea that hope is sometimes painted, not just spoken.
Okay, so let's set the scene for everyone. We're in a big city, but on a quiet street. Think old brick buildings, artist studios.
And we're focused on two young artists, Sue and Johnsy. They're sharing one of those small attic rooms.
Yeah.
They're sharing dreams, paint, everything.
And from their window, they can see a brick wall with this old ivy vine growing on it. That vine becomes, well, it becomes everything.
It does. Because a sickness, the story calls it pneumonia, sweeps through the city. And Johnsy gets it. Badly. She just lies there, pale, quiet.
And Sue does everything you'd expect. Hot soup, warm blankets, tells her stories. But Johnsy just turns away.
Turns toward the window. That's the key. She stops engaging with Sue and starts engaging with that vine.
And she starts counting.
Yeah, counting the leaves as they fall. She'll whisper, 6 leaves left. And then a bit later, 5. With every single leaf that drops, a little more of her own hope just falls away with it.
This is where it shifts, right? From a purely physical sickness to something much more dangerous.
It's psychological despair. She finally whispers this one chilling line.
When the last leaf falls, I will go too.
And that's it. That's the moment the disease of the body becomes a disease of the will. She's decided her life is tied directly to that vine.
Sue, of course, she tries to brush it off, calls it silly, but you can tell she's terrified. Because Johnsy is dead serious.
And as she's saying this, another leaf falls. The proof, in Johnsy's mind, is right there outside the window.
So the question becomes, how do you save someone who has already given up? What do you do when the fight is just gone?
You're beyond conventional medicine at that point. You're fighting an idea, a conviction.
A conviction that has a deadline. And it's set by nature. This isn't just about feeling hopeless. It's what we'd now call the nocebo effect.
Exactly. We all know the placebo effect, where you believe something will heal you, so it does.
Yeah.
The nocebo effect is its dark twin. It's when a negative expectation actually causes a harmful outcome.
So her belief that she will die when that leaf falls is, in a way, actively harming her body's ability to fight back.
Her mind has become the most dangerous part of her illness. And you can't talk someone out of that state. It's a conviction.
Which is why Sue's next move is so desperate. She runs downstairs
To find Mr. Behrman.
And it's so interesting that the story pivots to him. He's an old artist, kind of a failure, honestly.
He really is. He's described as having this rough voice, always angry at the weather. And for years, for decades, he's been saying, one day, I will paint my masterpiece.
But he never has.
Never. So Sue finds this bitter, unsuccessful old man and just tells him everything. The leaves, Johnsy's strange idea, her fear.
And Berman's reaction is, well, it's loud. He shouts, that is foolish. It sounds like he's just dismissing her.
But the text gives us that one crucial detail. It says his eyes were worried, very worried.
So under all that bluster, he gets it. He understands how serious this is.
He does, and right at that moment, as if on cue, the wind starts to pick up outside. A storm is coming.
The stage is set.
Perfectly. The storm that night is. It's intense. The wind howls like a warning. Rain is lashing against the windows, and that core ivy vine is just being thrashed around.
And Johnsy wakes up. Of course she does. She looks, and another leaf is gone. They're down to the last one.
This is it, the final moment. Sue is so helpless she just closes her eyes and prays, please, not the last one.
Then the morning comes. It's all gray and cold, and Johnsy, very slowly, turns to look.
And against all odds,
One leaf?
one leaf is still there, clinging to vine. The story says it looks green and strong, like it's refusing to let go.
And this is the turning point. She just stares at it all day. The next day, it's still raining, but the leaf doesn't fall.
The evidence she was relying on to confirm her death has just been completely contradicted. And that's what breaks the spell.
She whispers it, doesn't she? Maybe I was wrong.
And that's all it took. She asks for some soup. She even smiles a little. Hope just comes rushing back in. Her will to live was tied to that leaf. And because it held on, she does too.
Which brings us to the big curiosity gap in the story. Why didn't it fall? A leaf couldn't possibly survive a storm like that. It doesn't make sense.
It doesn't. And we find out the answer a few days later. Sue learns that old Mr. Berman was taken to the hospital. He's very sick.
And the doctor explains it. Berman was found in his room. His clothes and shoes were soaking wet and ice cold. He'd been out all night.
Out in that freezing, terrible storm, fainting.
It's just a gut punch when you realize it. He went out there with a ladder and paints. In the wind and the rain.
And on that brick wall, he painted a leaf.
Not just any leaf, his masterpiece. The colors, the shape, the little shadows. It was so real.
So real that even death believed it. As the story might imply, it was a perfect illusion.
But the cost was everything. He caught pneumonia out there in the cold, and he died. That painted leaf, his only great work, never fell.
And Johnsy lived.
He finally painted his masterpiece. Not for a gallery, not for fame or money.
But for life.
Yeah.
For one single life. He never got to sell it, never got any credit for it, really, except from Sue.
It's the ultimate silent sacrifice. Johnsy gets her life back because of him, but she'll probably never know what he actually did for her.
And that brings us to the core of this whole thing. It wasn't kindness or nice words that saved her. It was an action. A difficult, costly, physical action.
Right. It ties together our two main themes. First, this idea that art isn't just passive. It's not just a reflection of reality. Here, it literally intervened in reality and changed the outcome.
Absolutely. And second, it redefines what we mean by sacrifice. This wasn't a small act of charity. It was a total, silent giving of oneself, without any expectation of reward or even recognition.
It was done completely in the dark.
Which leaves us and you with a really challenging thought to take away from this deep dive. We often offer words of support. We say, I'm here for you, or things will get better. And that's good.
Sure, but it's not what Berman did.
So the question for you to think about is this. If hope can be painted but not spoken, what unspoken practical action could you take for someone you know? What might it cost you in time and effort and comfort to create a last leaf of hope for someone who's about to give up?
Something to really think about. The greatest masterpiece might be the one nobody ever sees. Thank you for joining us for the deep dive.
We'll see you next time.